Our nation, Big Ten Nation, what's going on? Hugh the Woodshed right back at you. My brother Brian, the Super Mad Spartan. Ken, the Super Cool Spartan. Shout out to my wife, Erica, who had this funny comment right before we came onto the podcast here. She says, I'm having a really good time here. And she's correct. I am. Because what's going on right now with Michigan State football, just to get things started off here with our preview against Indiana. It is quite comical. It's quite funny. It's hilarious. It is, I mean, what other words can you say? Homie the Clown, Pennywise from It,
Just
whatever one a
laugh through the
clown show you
pain.
want to talk about. That's what MSU football is right now. So let's just get right into it, broski. I mean, and let's just start it off the right way. Let's just
Yes.
start off the right way. Well, I'm going to ask, do you want to start off previewing Indiana or the real hot button topic? How you want to start this off?
Let's do Indiana
Hot button
because it
or
will lead.
Indiana?
Let's go Indiana because the Indiana is part of the discussion that's going to lead to the hot button issue. Because I think everybody has a sense of what's coming up with this Indiana team. My guy, Coach Siggs, does not play around with fodder, does not play with his food. And
Nah.
when we see what he's done to lesser teams, and Michigan State right now is a lesser Big Ten football team with how they performed on the field so far.
Much lesser. Much lesser.
So we go on the road to play the newly ranked number 3 Indiana Hoosiers off of probably their biggest victory in modern football. They looked clearly like better than Oregon.
Oh,
So
yeah. Most definitely. That was I was quite surprising.
That was a great game, and seeing those games, it really it I just you just get you haven't seen such good football from Michigan State in a long time.
Very
That was
long
a good
time.
game. It was very good. Two really good teams. High level football. Just all right. We're going to keep it squared up. We're not going to make stupid mistakes. We're going to just play a football game, and our coaching, our endurance, all this is going to matter. Not stupid mistakes. Not this guy's trying to do it. It's just none of that. Indiana went to Oregon, looked the Ducks in the face, and said, "We're not going to flinch."
Right.
I know we got kind of embarrassed a couple of years. The last season, everybody kind of felt like, okay, well, yeah, we were good for a Indiana Big Ten school. We weren't on the upper echelon. They're squarely looking at Ohio State in the face like, okay, it's me and you, buddy. It's me and you.
Yes.
And I can't guarantee that Ohio State can beat Indiana. I think it's going to be that's the Big Ten championship game right there. And so the level of football that Indiana's playing has not been seen at Michigan State in, let's say, a decade. Like, well, okay, that's a little hyperbole, but in a long time. Not since Coach D. Not since the legend himself was here.
Right. And you know what's funny is looking at Indiana, they reminded me of Michigan State back in the D'Antonio era, because those are the type of games you would see D'Antonio win. Those are the type of games where you go on the road, us against the world. Most of the world is predicting we're going to lose, but, we're going to strap it up. We're going to go on the field and we're going to prove that we belong. And Indiana definitely proved that they belong in the upper echelon on the Big Ten. Because I was one of those fans who's like, well, Indiana going on the road against Oregon, which is a tall task for any team to do. Doesn't matter if you are highly ranked or not. Oregon, they took out Ohio State last year, on their home field. And whoever else, that was ranked
They had an
also.
18-game win streak at home. Like I think it was one of the longest streaks in the nation at
Oh,
home.
wow.
Oregon
Okay.
did
That I
until
didn't
Indiana
know.
beat them. Yes.
So, yeah. So, you know, Kirk Cinetti was like, you know what? I don't care what anybody says. We're going to come in here and we're going to punch Oregon in the face. And that's what they exactly did from start to finish. I mean, it was
No, it's,
no question that Indiana won that game start to finish.
I thought was very impressive about that. The quarterback comes down. I think it's Mendoza,
Who I
Brandon
believe is
Mendoza.
in like the running for the Heisman. If I'm not mistaken,
I,
I think he's in the
you know
running
what?
for the Heisman.
When you win big games, you get your name put out there. But he throws a pick six. The game is tied 20-20, and then promptly gets the ball back. Says nope, whatever. We're gonna win this football game, and they go down there. They put the points on the board and do what they have to do to win that football game, and that was very impressive to me.
Extremely.
You know, because you know, coming back to Michigan State side, we haven't seen that level of mental toughness come through yet. I think this team they had a lot of like it's kind of weird with Michigan State because we saw them fight versus USC to claw get back in the game, get within one score. We saw them claw and fight to get back and take the lead versus Nebraska. But then UCLA, they didn't have that fight. And you have four Michigan State running backs saying they quit. They didn't want to play no more.
Yeah, talking about Jalen
It,
Berger.
hey, when you win, you can talk shit. Shout out to my mans. He had 3 touchdowns, put them right in our face.
Yeah,
So,
he did.
and just to preview the game, Indiana's firing on all three phases. Their offense, I, it's not like the greatest like show on turf offense, but they're consistent. And what they really have is a dog defense, and a defense puts their offense in good positions, and their offense can come through and deliver. They have some playmakers at running back, playmakers on the line. I'm not too familiar with their backfield, but when you got two NFL guys on the line or in linebacker and on your defensive line, and you're fundamentally sound, you're good. And then not to poo-poo their offense, I believe that the top receiver, um, Elijah Surratt, I'm pretty sure he's going to be in the NFL because he's been killing teams. He killed Oregon. That was the guy. Every time they did a big play to the passing game, there he was. So State has a tall task, and yet again, I have to say this phrase: with this, Michigan State's got to play a level of football we have not seen under Jonathan Smith so far.
And let's not forget how we saw Indiana in person last year and we got obliterated. I mean, by halftime, half of Spartan Stadium was gone, including us.
It was a joke.
So
We had a great play though. We had a great touchdown pass from Childs to Nick Marsh. It was a fantastic play. But that was the highlight of the game.
that was pretty much it. Yeah.
Other than that,
Just like that opening drive we had against UCLA. That was impressive. And after that,
the game just snowballed, and that's what I say about the mental toughness with this game. I just this team. I don't know. I can't speak for the team. I can just say how I looked as a fan. They looked defeated. It says like, oh my God, here goes that one bad thing yet again. And then from the coach's mouth, he said that basically after, people are trying to do too much on defense. I'm going to make a play instead of being fundamentally sound in my gap. And that led to big runs and big pass plays and all these things and all these pieces. And that comes back around to, well, why are we still hearing the same old every press conference about, oh, we're just these few plays, we're just these few adjustments away. Like, well, yeah, the adjustments ain't being made, and it keeps coming back to coaching. And
Oh
I'm gonna
yeah, yeah.
I'm no
I mean,
longer
at this
going
point,
to
that's all it's all
refer
about.
about the players because it's a coaching because whatever they're trying to teach is not getting through coaching. And if the players aren't listening, not doing what they're not doing what they're told, and they're still playing, that's coaching. You know, if the game plan
Yeah,
is weird, that's coaching. If it's a fourth and inches and you tell your quarterback, if you get a certain look, I need you to check to a toss sweep, and your quarterback does what you coached him to do, well, coaching.
that one play killed the game for you. That was the
Yes,
snowball effect. That was the
that was
snowball
it.
effect. I mean, like I said, even my wife who was watching the game, she was like, "Why'd they call that play?" Now you know if you're just a you know you don't watch football
Casual.
like that. Yeah, you're just a casual fan, and you are saying like, "Why did they do that play?" That right there tells you something. And I'm gonna tell you this too, Super Mad Spartan. You know that something is really up with the coaching when I'll say the last two games. What's the first thing Coach Smith has said? It's on me. It's on the coaching staff. We haven't done anything to get our players in the best position to win. Now, if you are coming out the gate in your post game conference saying, hey, it's on me. I had a team ready. That tells you something right there. I mean, so this is what I expect based off of where we're currently at, based off what we seen Indiana pull off last week, based off what we saw last year at the Michigan State Indiana game where we lost like 50-10. My expectation is that we're going to lose like 70-3, and Smith is going to get his walking papers right after the game. And what's going to put the pressure on that is what happened to James Franklin earlier in the week. I mean, when it was breaking news on an NFL Sunday talking about Penn State's fired James Franklin. Now you mean to tell me James Franklin, who has won a ton of damn games at Penn State. I mean, outside of his record against top 10 ranked teams, he's won a lot of damn games at Penn State. And for them to come out on an NFL Sunday and you have NFL shows saying breaking news, Penn State has fired James Franklin and they're going to pay him $50 million to go away.
To get up
You
out of here.
think they get him up out of there, $50 million to say, hey, you know what? And Penn State's just as bad as Michigan State right now. They're like, you know what? We've seen enough. Get up out of here. Here's your check, $50 million. Bye. You can't tell me there's no pressure to get rid of Jonathan Smith.
Kenny, I I cannot disagree with your sentiment. And I wish it wasn't true. Like I've calmed down a lot since the UCLA game. And I kind of just understand that Michigan State is in a no-win situation right now. Damn if you do, damn if you don't. All right, you fire Jonathan Smith. All right, you got all this money, and you look kind of like a clown show because who are you to fire a coach 18, 19 games into their tenure? Because outside of our area, our Michigan State silo, our bubble, no one, they don't care about Jonathan Smith at Michigan State. Oh, it's just Michigan State lost again. Who cares?
That's
But
true.
because we
That's
are
true.
a, a we have been a spoiled fan base because we know what it feels like to be at the mountaintop, at the cusp,
Of
and we
greatness.
know what good football is supposed to look like, and we haven't seen it in a long time. So you have a fan base that's rabid. You see your rival. I mean, cheating or not, it's not cool. It's not a good feeling to see Michigan win three Big Ten titles and win a national championship. It puts pressure on you.
With the
And
asterisk,
to bring it back
sincerely Connor
to bring it
Stallions.
even yeah even well the cheating worked. They got their title. Um, and then you see Indiana, who hired a coach the same year you did, who we considered to be a lesser program than us, goes to college football playoffs first year, trending second year, that you are now ranked number 3 in the country, and you just came off the biggest road wins in college football this year, and the biggest win
And in
probably in
Indiana's
Indiana
history.
football history. And this guy's a peer, like, and we're not even the same universe. Right now, we're not on the same plane as Indiana in terms of football, and
No.
it's jarring. And I understand that Indiana's a kind of a unicorn in that regard. They got it all together, but part of it was the administration got together behind the scenes, said we're going to commit to football and we're going to put a structure in place. They got the coach that fits them and got them right away. And now they're winning. The money's starting to pour in because once you taste that success, ooh, it tastes good and you want to stay there. And they want to keep Coach Siggs. It's gonna take they gonna somebody some
They already
school is looking
re-signed
right
him
now.
last year.
Yeah,
They re-signed it.
but
They upped his contract last year.
I know they did. I'm just saying, but how the money is and how crazy college football fans are, there is some school out there saying, whatever, I'll pay your buyout. I'll drink your bathwater. Come on, Coach Siggs.
And you know what's funny, Brian,
So,
to your point about that? His name was mentioned for, the Penn State job. When you're watching, the talking heads of the world, the ESPNs and Fox Sports, they already asked that question. Well, who's going to be on the list, to replace him? His name came up on that so-called ESPN list, from what's his name? The talking head guy with the glasses, that Feinbaum.
Feinbaum.
And Heather Denter, I think her name is. They're like the talking heads for for ESPN college football. They were like, oh yeah, Kirk Cignetti should be on that list. They talked about Matt Rule because he played at Penn State. I don't see that happening. And they
Oh,
mentioned, I think they will highlight
that one,
the
like that rule makes a lot of sense to me, but I don't know if I don't, yeah. Anyway, I,
right. And I'll say this: Nebraska is now ranked in the top 25 because they took care of business at Maryland, who probably that head coach probably the chopping block too. So, but I digressed. Point is, you're talking about Kirk Cignetti and how he's turned the Indiana program around within 2 years, while we have Jonathan Smith who's sucking wind. And like I said, I think that, and to your point, yeah, MSU's damn if they do, damn if they don't. I guess it's just a matter of, okay, if we let Smith stay, he's going to take all these bullets. It's going to be even worse. We're going to go winless in the Big Ten versus we're going to get blown out Indiana and we just need to blow him out. So I guess from the optics, what looks worse? Blowing him out after Indiana and we just take roll the dice after that, or let Smith stay. He continues to take all these bullets to make the program look even worse, and then
it's tough.
get out
And
of
I
here
don't know what the
by.
right, and there's a line of thinking that once you recognize a mistake, you must immediately correct it. And now we're talking about, we're saying this as if it's impossible for them to be better. It's just, we haven't seen it. We haven't seen one full game of this team looking competent under Jonathan Smith, and that's my biggest problem. There's
Right.
been no progression. And I would damn near say this year they've regressed. Well, they've definitely regressed from the beginning of the year. I know Aiden Childs had a bad last few games, but taking my emotion out of it, you know why he looks regressed? He can't trust this pocket. He can't trust this line. I think he's been sacked, I think, like 16 times. I would damn near say almost all those sacks came in like the last like 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
He's taking huge shots. Not just, oh, he gets, they get down there, he gets kind of get throws to the ground. No, he's getting hit like he's a running back, square on.
Yeah.
He's been knocked out of the last 2 games. And he's
And
questionable
I
for
mean,
he's
because you see
questionable for
it.
this game.
Oh, I know he is because these you've seen the hits. I mean, the in the Nebraska game, when he got his his first sack, that guy who sacked him from Nebraska, I think he weighed damn near 300 pounds when he got popped in, number 66. Like,
And he hasn't looked right since.
no, he hasn't.
Like at the beginning of the year, the first game he looked better, but he's kind of missed the passes. And then, we get to Boston College. He starts off a little shaky. Then he starts putting it together. Like, okay, we see it. We seeing it. We're seeing it. USC. The percentage didn't look great, but okay, we're seeing it. We're putting passes together. And then he took that huge shot in Nebraska and like, okay, well, it was windy. But basically since then, he hasn't been able to put the ball in good spots.
No.
And I would say, people always want to question this. I will not question Child's toughness because that in that Nebraska game, he damn near won that game for Michigan State by himself with his legs.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt at UCLA trying to make a play because he's like, our team needs me to make a play. And he got to protect himself because he spun back into the defense and got popped. And
Yeah.
and if you look early in that game, he got hit and he was already kind of limping and hurling up. So I think he's been playing hurt for a while. And it would not surprise me if he doesn't play versus Indiana. And just for the young man's sake, because I know he probably wants to play, maybe they should just be like, okay, Andy, you got a backup quarterback. You're beat up. Let's give you some time to rest. But
I
the
agree.
main thing is they got to win the game, and I can't in my brain see Indiana not this just completely pantsing us.
Dismantle us.
You know, the only team that kind of gave Indiana a problem was Iowa. But we talk shit about Iowa, but you know what they are? They're consistent. They're not getting blown out by teams. They may not score.
No.
They may not can score touchdowns. Punting is part of like a major part of their offense. But you're not going to go to Iowa. You're not going to play an Iowa team, and they're going to get embarrassed like that.
No.
Their coach staff always has them ready to play. No, they don't have the greatest recruiting classes in the world, but they do pull out of guys in the NFL. You can go look in the NFL right now. You'll find the Iowa safety and the Iowa DB somewhere on someone's team
Oh
starting.
yeah. And a tight end.
It's definitely a tight end, yes,
Yeah.
and some
George
offensive line.
Kittle.
Then you'll see it.
And Laporta too from the Lions. Didn't he come from Iowa? Sam Laporta?
I believe so. Hawkinson, Noah Fant. There's a bunch of them, but
Yeah.
so we're not even playing a solid level of football. Even at the end of the Coach D era, it wasn't the winning that we were used to, but there was a level of coaching and professionalism in a game. Look, yeah, they weren't.
Right.
Of
And
course they struggled
pride.
versus Ohio State. But they weren't getting blown out versus the mid tier, the Big Ten. I understand we're in a different era now, football, whatever. I'm just talking about the quality of football we're seeing with our eyes. We haven't seen
Right.
quality football under this coaching staff, and it's been no progress, and that's why people are upset. Because I don't think if the games look different and we had the same record, people would be a little irritated, but it wouldn't be like, oh, he has to go.
Right.
You lose to lose to USC. Okay, everybody kind of accepted the defense looked terrible, and that was kind of the thing there. All right, you come back versus Nebraska. You know you have to, because if you're trying to get to bowl games, you got to win. You got to steal one of these road games. You got to steal
And
one of
don't
these wins.
forget, we were coming off a bye week
Yes,
playing Nebraska, a bye week.
and then we
And we
come
still
out
look
in
like
Nebraska
garbage.
and look like a clown show for most of the game. And so we got the mid part defense looked all right. The defense can do some things. Cool. Offense regresses. Coaching staff makes some interesting game choices again. And we end up giving that game away. People are mad. People were on that he should go then because it was a level of clownery, buffoonery that we have not seen. Like we just, all right, this doesn't look good football team. And then we get to
Jonathan John
UCLA.
L. Smith.
Then we get to
Jonathan John
UCLA, and
L.
then
Smith, baby.
you have players talking about we quit. So it doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence going to play a well coached, on fire Indiana team who's looking to they trying to win a national championship.
Right.
Like let's be clear, they trying
And
to
to
they
throw
say
at go ahead. Go ahead. Go
go
ahead,
ahead.
BJ.
No, you're gonna be fine. I'm done.
No, I was gonna say to add more salt into the wound, you're now having former Michigan State players, Trey Waynes, publicly saying that Jonathan Smith needs to go. This is Trey Waynes, who was a first round pick in the NFL, played in the D'Antonio, the no fly zone, had some pretty good success in the NFL. He's coming up publicly saying it's time for Jonathan Smith and this coaching staff to go. And he is lobbying that MSU hire James Franklin. So that right there is adding even more fuel to the fire. When you start having former players who were highly successful at Michigan State, who has some hardware to show for it, winning Big Ten titles, beat Ohio State at the precipice of their greatness, whooped up on Michigan. He's coming out and saying, you know what? Y'all need to get rid of Jonathan Smith and hire James Franklin. So from a PR standpoint and the optics standpoint, if you're Jay Batt and you're, the president, and I'm quite sure you're having some of those big money donors behind the scenes whispering or chatting like, hey, yo, we just saw what Penn State did to James Franklin.
Listen, Kenneth, when the beat writers, we talked about it off pod,
Right.
but Graham Couch and Chris Starr just did their Spartan speak, and Graham Couch is talking about is he going to make it past this game? Graham Couch is not one of those clickbait beat writers. He's
he's not
old
a
school.
sunshine blower.
No, he's going to shoot you straight. If he's
Right.
saying that on record, not off like, oh, I'm having a conversation, having a few beers with my friends. No, he's putting it on wax, putting it out there. That means there are people, big people, are talking about it within Michigan State's organization.
Right.
So that discussion is being had. And Jay Batt, I know he probably would have hoped that he wouldn't have to make such a decision. Not, he ain't been here 6 months yet.
No.
And he has to think about, well, damn, I'm about to hire a football coach and I got to get it right because if I don't get it right, that means I'm going to be up out of here.
Right. Right. And I know this conversation is being had too, because I had it with my college buddies, but I'm sure you had it with some of your MSU buddies. And this article has been out there talking about the buyouts, like $30 to $35 million. And, oh, MSU don't have the money. Whoa, MSU got the money. Yes, they do. MSU got the money. And if they they don't have it, they'll find a way to get the money to buy Smith out. There are a bunch of creative things that can be done, whether if you pay him in installments or you
that
tap
article
Dan
already got
Gilbert on the
written about
shoulder.
installment payments.
Right.
Like that's where we're at.
Right.
That was before
Right.
UCLA game. I think it was David Harrington that got a breakdown of all right what it would look like. So I was like, yeah,
right.
people are talking about it.
Because people are like, well, Penn State got the money. Okay, they do. And Penn State may have more than Michigan State. But let's not pretend Michigan State ain't got no money. Michigan State is a top 25 money-making machine with their college football program alone. So you can't tell me that they can't find a way to buy out Jonathan Smith. If you're going to tap Dan Gilbert on the shoulder, Matt Ishbia, whomever, Michigan State has plenty of rich donors, wealthy donors, big money donors, Magic Johnson, whomever, be like, hey, you know what? Here, let me write this check,
Jay Beck has to form those relationships.
tax
You didn't have
write
to make that
off,
decision,
make it
and
happen.
that's why he's paid the big bucks because it's I can't tell you what the right decision is. I've gone back and forth with it in my mind. Like, do you just cut bait now and try to move forward, but then what does that look like? And then if we keep them for year three, like, do we really want to have to go through that pain as well? I don't know. That's what I say. That's why Jay Beck gets paid
Nope.
those money to make decisions. Now this is a different discussion to have at hand. We won't. This ain't the time. But James Franklin. Now I don't like. I don't hate it.
I
I'm
don't
not like
either.
completely. I'm not completely in love with it, but I do not hate it. Uh, his only sin was he couldn't beat Ohio State and Michigan in top 10 schools, but he beat mostly everybody else. He's a 8, 9 win football coach every year. I'm like, that looks like heaven right now. So I don't know. Yeah. Well, it's just I'm not. I don't. I'm not completely in love with it, but I don't hate it either. But that's neither here nor there. We have to talk. Indiana's on the clock. We're looking like food, and they need a snack. We're not having a full meal. We need a snack.
uh, we're the appetizer. We're
Not
the
even that. We just we the chips
those
in the back
cheddar
of the bag.
biscuits at Red Lobster,
You're
or the
giving us too much
breadsticks
credit.
at right, or the breadsticks at Olive Garden
We'll
next to the salad.
throw man. Here you go. Ain't the main meal. Just something that keep you tide you over.
Right. Hey, we're that free dessert you get for your birthday. You eat
Oh, a complete throw in. Take a little Michigan steak too. Here you go.
Oh man. All right, bro. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's get into our Big Ten talk. We've already mixed it in, so
Yes,
get those our Big Ten. Last week we were talking about the bottom feeders, including us in the Big Ten. Who's the best? The bottom feeders.
present.
So let's talk about this middle tier. These teams that are like the Iowas of the world, and surprisingly, like USC, Washington, these teams are 5-1 and killing it in the Big Ten. I mean, these teams, I was very impressed with USC, and I knew USC would beat Michigan. Even though, some of the talking heads are going to, they were predicting Michigan to win because they just felt that this is going to, run all over USC. But I guess they didn't see how USC, pretty much took Michigan State out. So I wasn't surprised that, and USC was coming up a bye week too. So I wasn't surprised the way USC handled Michigan. Um, and, Washington, like I said, man, I'm really impressed by, I forget that coach's name, but he's got Washington really on the come up.
Dead fish.
Yes. Yes. Jed and um the USC coach, his name escapes me all of a sudden. Lincoln
Lincoln
Riley. Lincoln
Riley.
Riley. Yeah, Lincoln Riley and Jed, man, they're like, what, we took our wounds and licks, last year is our first year in the conference. Not happening this year. They're both killing it. Very impressed with both of those schools.
Yeah, that's what makes the Big Ten a very tough conference. You know, for the longest time, this has always been my belief. I always thought the Big Ten was the best conference in college football, not because we had the highest of high end talent, but I feel like our mid tier was better than anybody else. Because you should see in the bowl games that all right, these Big Ten schools that went 8-4, 9-3, and they couldn't beat Ohio State and Michigan in their hey, they couldn't beat or Michigan State, Penn State, and Ohio State. Those the 2000s, tens and up. Those are the top upper echelon teams. But the middle class was always pretty good. Now it's got with the NIL stuff, they've gotten stronger. You know, even look at the standings, you would be surprised. Northwestern's 4-2.
Wow, I didn't know that.
We talk about them being in
Four
the
and
basement. Nah,
two.
they in the mid tier.
And it's in the mid
One
tier
of the
now too. I talked about it earlier, Nebraska.
yes, five. There's 5-1. We forget like they lost to Michigan. That's the only loss. Now I don't think they looked great, but they got the victories, and that's all that matters. They're probably they're gonna make a bowl game again, or for the first time in a long time. So that's looking good. We have Illinois. Illinois, okay, 5-2. They lost to lost big time to Indiana. And who else they lose to?
Ohio State this
State,
past
yeah, just lost to Ohio
weekend.
State.
Yeah.
Yeah, just lost to Ohio State. So okay. They lost to the two biggest teams in the Big Ten.
Right.
So then,
Right.
all right, Maryland, we don't know about them. They're in the mid tier, but they're kind of creeping back down to the
They're
bottom with
sleeping.
us.
Yeah. Yep.
But
They're doing the usual
they're
tank job.
4-2, and then the bottom team of the Big Ten. Wisconsin is considered one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. Um, I would put us. There are one, two, three, four, five teams that have not won a Big Ten game yet. Michigan State,
Wow.
Penn State,
5. Ooh.
Rutgers, Purdue, and Wisconsin. Now those
Hmm.
teams, the two lowest because they only won two games, is Purdue and Wisconsin. They're both 2-4, and then other teams I mentioned they're all 3-3. So
Okay.
yeah, firmly in the basement. But Iowa 4-2. UCLA's creeped up because they
Yeah.
they
Two
might be
and
only be
four,
2-4, but they're 2-1 in the Big Ten.
which is
So
crazy. That is crazy.
yeah, so you're
Their
looking at
their
the mid
Big
tier.
Ten record is just as good as Michigan's because I think Michigan's what 2-1.
Yeah, 2-1. They're a bunch of 2-1 Michigan. The upper. All right, so the only you have Indiana undefeated, Ohio State undefeated, and then the next best team after them record wise is USC.
What about Oregon? They've only lost one game too, right? Against Indiana.
Yeah, but they've only played three Big Ten games. All these other ones, well,
Oh,
they
okay.
have played three Big Ten games, but they lost one. USC has played four Big Ten games, so they've won three of them and lost one. They lost to Illinois, so that's what
Right.
makes them higher than in the rankings, the conference rankings right now. Then you
Oh, okay.
have Michigan's 2-1 in the Big Ten, Northwestern, Nebraska, Washington, Iowa, Minnesota, and then UCLA again.
Okay.
Yeah, but if
Yeah,
you
to
go
your
from
point.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that's it. To your point. Yeah, the middle tier of the Big Ten, I think that is what makes this conference pretty tough because the Big Ten is always compared to the SEC. And, we talk nationally, the fine bombs in the world and people of its ilk, they're always going to say SEC, SEC, SEC. But the Big Ten, I think from top to bottom, outside of the bottom feeders, I mean, I think they're facing the SEC neck and neck. And you could make a case that the SEC could be a little strong. I'll say at least a little stronger and the Big Ten is a little stronger than the SEC because of those middle tier teams. Like you said, the USCs, the Illinois, the Iowas, Washington, uh, you know, I mean, that's hard. That's hard.
Yeah, and we want to talk about it, you know, and that the new playoff system, because we've always kind of said it, the SEC gets a lot of credit for beating themselves,
Right.
and so sometimes we don't really know, like, okay, who's really like the best team out of there, and it was pretty telling that, all right, for last two seasons, Cheers included, Big Ten got the last two titles.
Yeah. One team with an asterisk. We know who that team is. The other is those good old Buckeyes.
Yeah, and then they didn't. SEC did not do well outside of Texas in the playoffs.
Right. And I think the Big Ten, didn't they get more teams into the playoff last year than the SEC?
Maybe off the top of my head, it was Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas, and the Big Ten had Ohio
Ohio
State,
State,
Penn
Penn
State,
State,
Indiana,
Oregon,
and
and
Indiana. So
Oregon.
yeah, maybe four.
So yeah. So they edged out the SEC, but overall, to your
Off the top of
point,
my head, but yeah.
especially
So
especially like I'll say from this time of year to basically to the end of the season, if you are going on a road game playing at like Iowa, playing at Washington, playing at USC, I'll say at least for this year, um, as a ranked team, unless you're like Ohio State and I'll say Indiana and Oregon, I'll still throw Oregon. Oregon by no means is trash. But
well,
if
for
you're
sure.
one of
No, they're
those
really
top
still good.
ranked teams, yeah, you have to go on the road with this time, like late October to mid November. Those are not guaranteed victories.
No, no, we haven't talked about Ohio State in a while because they're doing as expected. They might have the best defense in the entire nation.
Oh yeah, I
Like they're
agree.
just chokehold teams. Like, you get nothing, and
Yeah,
their offense is good enough. They still the quarterback is pretty accurate. They have the receiver.
Justin Sayin, he's the quarterback.
Yeah, and then the receiver name escapes me.
Jeremiah Smith.
Jeremiah Smith. Yeah, that's why they ranked number one. They just been chokeholding teams. Like you nothing
Right.
here. Headlock all game. Oh, you think you're doing something? Nope, headlock.
Right. Man, I was just thinking too, Brian. Imagine what if Ohio State comes knocking on Nick Marsh's door and like, hey, Nick, you come play with Jeremiah Smith? Ooh, oh God. That would be
Any,
ooh, that would be nasty.
I
And
would
I would
love
not
to
blame Nick
see.
Marsh if he said, you know what? Bye, Michigan State. I'm going to Columbus.
I would say
I'm gonna
do what's
get
in
this
your
big
heart.
ass check. I'm gonna go to the NFL.
Do what's in your heart. Like I said last podcast, Nick Marsh has shown Michigan State a lot of loyalty, and in any player, if that's what you choose, that's what you choose. I don't have the capacity to get mad at stuff like that because
I don't
you know
either.
it'd be like if you have
Keon
a
Coleman
job and somebody
left.
else comes knock, and he's still loved, and because everybody understood, like okay, yeah, I understand, and if that happens, it's just how college football is now. If you players want to leave, they want to go, and especially someone like of Nick Marsh's ilk who has the talent and the cachet, and he can go somewhere else that he wants to be at, and he feel like they can better utilize him, I say go maximize your skills, young man. You've shown Michigan State a lot of loyalty, and you was in my eyes, you still welcome back on campus if you choose to come back. So you know, it
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. I'm not advocating for him to leave because no, I would love to see him still in the green and white, but
Oh yeah.
there's not a whole lot of stability at Michigan State, and it goes beyond just Jonathan Smith. You know, if you want to hear, I don't know what podcast I was listening to. It was either Graham Couch or Jim Camperoni and Paul Conadike. They kind of went through like the last like 5 years of Michigan State stuff,
Futility. 5 years of
and just no, and
futility.
just kind of putting it in perspective of how do we get to this point with 18, 19 games in wanting to fire Jonathan Smith, and it's not all on him. He's taking a lot of brunt of frustrated fandom, and it's a complete lack of leadership and well, not lack of leadership, that's not the right term. Unified vision. You know, State has made several mistakes going back basically since, you know, the Larry Nassar stuff. You know, we had it rolling under on Hollis and Luann Simons, but they had to go. We understand why. And you get the AD, Bill Beekman, who really had no business being AD at all. He goes
True.
out, hires Mel Tucker. You know, okay, we got that one season that seemed really good, but then okay, we got on that pathway. Bill Beekman's out. We get Alan Haller, who I think is a really good AD. It's just not the athletic director that is needed at this time in present modern day football. Because it has to be about NIL, and he was about sports and doing the actual job, not the comes along with the jobs.
Right. Right.
And so we have all that kind of, you know, leadership dysfunction and not having on the same page, and donors want to get their way, and they didn't really like Alan Haller because he didn't smooth enough, I guess, and they
And
felt
he didn't
left
play the
out during the
game.
Jonathan Smith hire. You know, we get all these weirdnesses about what Michigan State NIL is, you know, and then let's not forget when that you see the Tucker gets fired, one of the big the brand collective they're building for Michigan State NIL pulls all the NIL stuff on the way to a road game.
Right.
So
I
the
forgot
players,
about that.
yeah, so you know, there's a lot of administrative dysfunction that's led up to the fan base being tired of it, and it's kind of all falling on Jonathan Smith. And that's why I go to like, man, do are we just overreacting too much? Me, myself included. Is this guy even had a fair shake yet? At the same time, it has to look like something.
Right. And that's the
So
problem
that's
is
my.
looking like
I know I pivoted back to
nothing.
Michigan State. I just had to get that kind of out there. So you know, coming back to the Big Ten talk, you know, the upper echelon schools don't have these same problems. They have their NIL stuff together. They have their this is what we're doing together. And State hasn't found their niche, but Indiana has, and they're rolling. We'll see if they, you know, what it comes down to. You know, the mid-tier schools seem to have things. You have teams that have risen themselves out of the grave. Illinois was kind of in the basement, and they've risen themselves up to be a mid-tier competent team that is fighting to get to that top part. You have Washington,
Yeah.
who was kind of an afterthought. They're 5-1, and I saw them play Ohio State and said, "Man, the score might not look like it, but they played Ohio State tough, well coached. Ohio State's just a better team, and there's nothing wrong
Right.
with that." That Jed Fish in his second year too looked like something. So and that's where
Ah,
all this stuff, all this, it's just a lot of stuff coming down, and that's fair, unfair.
oh boy. Thank God the Izzone's coming back. That's all I have to say.
Right? They be hurt by another team.
Our our saving grace, Tom Izzo.
We know we're going to get some good basketball. Yeah, like even if State isn't going to win a national championship, there will be some games this year that State's not supposed to win. That Tom Izzo and his Magic and those guys are going to come out and they're going to win the game because that's what they do. That's the brand equity
Right,
he's built, and people understand
right,
what Izzo. So
right.
John Smith has no brand equity right now with Michigan State, and I don't. His personality doesn't lend very well to a fan base that's rabid and hungry. So
Nope, nope. Well, all right, broski. Time to fool you again with this fun football fact. So, the fun football fact brought to you by a a rabid fan base. Rabid fan base LLC. All right. As usual, it's multiple choice. 3 answers. Have to guess the right one. So, who is the all-time sack leader for MSU? Is it Larry Bethia, William Golston, or Percy Snow?
um, I want to say Percy Snow.
Well, you'll be surprised about this answer. I was when I had researched this and go to Google. The answer is Larry Bethia, and I'm hoping I'm saying his last name correctly. Larry Bethia. He recorded 33 sacks. He played in the 70s, like the mid to late 70s.
Yeah.
From 1974 to 1977, he recorded 33 sacks. He's the all-time sack leader for MSU. Number 2 on the list is Shalik Calhoun, if you remember him.
Oh, for sure. That's what I was thinking. Like, man, I was like, I don't think it's. I wanted to. I was thinking Bethia, but I was like, I don't know. I never heard of that person before. And I said Snow. Yeah, Snow seems like it could be correct. I was like, no, it wasn't William Ghostin. He, as good as Ghostin was, you know, he's not that type of defensive end.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. So yeah, I was say I was say Leslie. Sorry, Larry Bethia. So I think one day we'll have to get some of these old school players on the podcast, talk about Michigan State back in the day, educate our audience more because
Educate
in
us.
our lifetime, yeah, we know about the D'Antoni era. That's the most like to us the most modern
Golden
era,
age. Yes.
the golden age of Michigan State. But back in the
So far away now.
'60s, right, right. Back in the '60s, they that's when they won the national championships back in the '60s, and they had some success in the '70s, and then in the Polish era they had their height, with the Rose Bowl and whatnot. But yeah, we'll have to work on that. But at any rate, I got you this time, broski. So you're having success, the last 2, 3 Big Ten podcasts, but I had to get you with
Hey, you
this
got
one.
me.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So once again, cue the woodshed. Make sure you follow us on all those social media, and we'll just see what happens with this week. A lot of Spartans are hoping that Indiana just beats the hell out of us so Smith can get up out of here, get his walking papers.
Oh,
I'm serious. From what I've been reading, a lot of fans are like, hey, you know what? Go IU. I've been seeing a lot of people say go IU
My
on
goodness.
TikTok and, my inner circle.
We're so down
So,
bad.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But on that note, Q the Wood said, Cam the super cool Spartan, my brother Brian the super duper duper mad Spartan. And we're out of here. Go green.
Go white.